So we are going to do a panel right now with DSpace. Is Samuela here? Yep, come on up. And we have her guest here. Yep, come on up. Yep, exactly.
Hello. All right. Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well. You don't have to be afraid of us. Feel free to come over. There are some great seatings out here. I'll be in the middle. Wow, that's beautiful. All right. My name is Sam. I was delivering a speech before, but now I'm here for a bit different reason. So I don't know if you noticed, Vít was mentioning today during his introductory speech that we delivered the flag to the moon, but we actually have our own space program, which was before that. We announced it sometime in October or November, and it couldn't exist without me meeting Rod back in June in Georgia. He will introduce himself shortly. So yeah, we initiated a space program for Liberland, and that's how we got also to more disruptive technologies. But I promise today it will be boring panel about space exploration, okay? I don't know how many of you know something about space. If so, or decentralized science, please raise your hand if you ever heard of decentralized science. DeSci? No? Yes? A bit? Okay, good. So we will talk about a bit more about the use cases, about Liberland space program, but not only, because we have also Rakhan here. Did I say it right? Yeah. And we will talk more about the opportunities in this area. And it's quite revolutionary that Liberland is hosting decentralized space panel, because it's like too early, okay? So there's a community of 50 people on WhatsApp. I met some of them, and I'm one of them, 50. Okay, so that was the introduction. I have here Rod with me. Would you say a few words about what you do? Who you are?
So, hey all, my name is Rod Mamin. I'm a space systems engineer. I've been in lunar exploration for like 7 years. Last year, an artwork that I've engineered was launched to the moon on the Peregrine lander. I also been developing robots for the moon for a while, and for the last 3 years, I'm a crypto native, Genius space engineer. I'm running a company. It's a Web3 native company called Lunco, Lunar Company. We are one of the first entities in the world that does decentralized space mission design. I've learned about Liberland in 2015, and I even applied for a citizen long time ago, but I were not able to apply because of the bug on the website. And then for like 10 years, I've been doing my career in space exploration, and I'm so happy that I've met Samuela last year, and that we had a discussion about space, and she said that Liberland needs space programs, so now we live in the world where actually the first network state, I believe like Liberland is one of the first network states, has its own space program. And happy to tell more later. I believe now it's time for Rakhan to introduce himself.
Yeah. Hello, how's it going? My name is Rakhan. I'm a scientist by training. I was born and raised in Kazakhstan, and I've been working all over the world in the traditional academic setting, working on various projects. And for the last 3 years, I'm working independently as a so-called D-scientist. So I raise funds through crypto mechanics to fund my own research. And some of my ideas, they revolve around space, space exploration. And what I came across in my work is that there aren't that many like environments where people can come together and discuss certain things. So as one of my tasks So I see one of my tasks to actually design and realize environments where people can work, collaborate on ideas, both online and offline. And what I do, like in particular, I will talk a bit later. So yeah, I will then pass the word to Rod, perhaps.
Okay, yeah. when you mentioned collaboration, I would like to also mention to you that we organize a pop-up city here for a month, starting on Monday. So if you are not, if you are a bit flexible, so you can stay here with us, and talk about decentralized science topics, co-work, co-live, do stretching in the morning, sauna. You know, just like adult camp around disruptive technologies. So I'm happy that you joined us as well. Gentlemen, maybe just to put it on the ground, like why to use like decentralized technologies for space-related activities, actually, in the first place? How would you describe it to my grandmother in a minute?
There are tons of people in the world from different countries, with a different citizenship, who love space, who love science, and who has to work together. In regular world, in Web2 world, sometimes when you work globally, it's really hard to collaborate. It starts with simple things like how you pay yourself. And with the decentralized technologies, with the blockchain technologies, some of the issues that we face, they could just be solved much more efficient. It again starts with the simple things like making payouts, like governing, just running a company on blockchain. It just makes total sense. But on top of that, there are tons of activities. Like, for example, every major country in the world has their own ledger of space debris. And it just makes sense to store that information on-chain and making it available for public, as well as all the space missions, all the information. That's one of the potential applications for a blockchain. So in general, decentralized thing starts with the fact that we just have to work together remotely, and blockchain helps a lot. But then we can introduce all sorts of things that traditionally were done by governance, like having different ledgers. So yeah, at first it's just a movement where people work together remotely and efficiently.
Okay, what would you say?
Yeah, that's actually a nice segue to like explaining my vision like more thoroughly. So there are levels to decentralization. So the very basic, like the very foundational level is just people coming together online and start discussing certain things. However, space is kind of resource-intensive activity, so it requires like certain infrastructure, and this infrastructure is tied to the real physical world. And in order to truly build something space-related, something innovative, so people need to have the ability to settle permanently in certain locations so that they can stay together long-term and actually build physical products. And to do that, we are, so the people that I work with and the initiatives that I'm a part of, so we heavily rely on like permissive jurisdictions, like special economic zones and like offshore countries. So, and Liberland is like one of the examples, one of the places that could be turned into like startup hubs. So a place where people can stay long term and really work on their ideas and kind of promoting like space-related technologies. And one of my missions is to like advise those jurisdictions and like help them to build their space missions and build their infrastructure.
Thank you. Yeah. Here I would maybe continue in a perspective of I learned that the bottleneck of the space exploration is not the tech advancement, but is the bureaucracy. And it can take up to 50% of the resources. So the space engineers are filling out papers instead of actually doing work. And that's a lot of things I can see and imagine if you take Liberlandian voluntaristic perspective and the legal perception and so on. So as a state, I think that the best thing we can do is to actually enable more countries and more market players to enter the market. Yeah. Rod, I would like to hear your intake because maybe not, as we saw, that not many people are here in the space. So where do you see, say, space opportunism? Because it's not just about the rockets. And
definitely. So the first thing that I have to say, we need bureaucracy, especially when we talk about things like space exploration. So, for example, when you launch a rocket, you have to coordinate on a huge scale. You have to just make sure that those rockets won't kill anyone. The thing is that in terms of the market size, it takes just around 5%. All the upstream services are just 5% of a space market. 95% of space market comes from downstream services like processing of data, like insurance, underwriting, and all sorts of boring things. And that's type of bureaucracy that could be efficiently automated with the blockchain. And that's where Liberland, with its being blockchain native country, comes in, because with all the processes, lots of things could be streamlined. On top of that, one of the great and interesting nuance with the space law is that nowadays only companies from two countries, from the US and Luxembourg, could own resources that they extracted from extraterrestrial parties. And that's actually a huge deal, because there is no incentive for private companies to go and, I don't know, get resources from the moon, from the asteroid. So definitely Liberland must become the third nation in the world, the third country in the world that would allow private companies to own what they have extracted. And if you think that I'm talking about, some I don't know, 10, 20 years, no, actually, in May, a Japanese company, iSpace, they're going to land on the moon, and they have a rover that is run under Luxembourg jurisdiction. So that rover will get some lunar soil, and it will own that lunar soil. So we live in the world where lunar exploration now is commercially available, and I'm pretty sure that with all the speed that Liberland have, with all the advancement that decentralized technologies and Web3 native companies have, that Liberland pretty soon will become one of the most advanced nations in the world, getting talents. And one story that I want to share, San Marino is a micronation, and it's so small that you cannot build an airport there. However, tons of airplanes are registered in San Marino because of their great jurisdiction. So same, I have no doubts, must be done with the Liberland. And that's basically what's happening with the space and what will happen with the Liberland scientific advancement in the next 5-10 years. Back to you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a very non-obvious perception on, well, say, such small countries as Liberland, and how the legal framework can actually disrupt and change the current world opportunities. What else would you say might be a good opportunistic perspective, even say in decentralized science or so? Okay,
so as far as Liberland is concerned, so I see Liberland as like a startup hub, one node in a network of startup cities. So the end goal would be to establish a space network state. So where so yeah, so thank you.
So we heard you.
so where people, regardless of their geographic location, could work together and kind of build their own capital, their own presence, and maybe rival established countries, and strive towards recognition from like other jurisdictions, and build their real like tangible presence in the space industry.
Thank you. I want to really stress out one thing, though. Rod wanted me specifically to make this presentation very, very boring, to make you, because you will come home and you will say, oh, I heard this space program thing, there were people, the guy coming from Kazakhstan, another arriving from Thailand, this girl, she just came from Korea, and they were talking about space exploration, what the fuck in Liberland, And so Rod wanted me to really stress that space is a boring thing. As he pointed out, just really all those rocket kind of things that you watch on X, that's 5% of the market. But Rod, give us more insights on how maybe people don't know it, how they use every day, say the data that are actually from space-related activities. How do they influence their life? How do they influence the government? What do they, value of why?
Who used a taxi to get here? Or like Uber or something like that?
We're in Apatin, but
Okay, so when you use navigation in your system, you are relying on GPS. When you use solar panels, actually solar panels were advanced to be used in space because like they were really, really bad. Agriculture nowadays, modern agriculture heavily relies on Earth observation data. It significantly increases the efficiency of all the operations that are happening here on Earth. Disaster monitoring. So all of that, weather prediction, all of that in some way, in one way or another, ties to data that we receive from space. On top of that, Starlink, it's just changed everything. Nowadays, we have internet all over the Earth, and in a couple of years, on every airplane flight, I'm pretty sure there'll be almost free Wi-Fi thanks to Starlink. So just doing things in space, it's just there is no way our civilization can live without relying on things that we receive from space. It's just so convenient, so important, but I believe we are running out of time, so back to you.
Thank you. I wanted to thank you, gentlemen. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid it was not boring. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.